Hello Cave Dwellers, welcome into the cave. The ZX Spectrum scene is thriving, but I don't think it ever stopped thriving, at least somewhere in the world. It was always being worked on, improved and developed, the ZX Spectrum, or cloned and bootlegged. And we've got some great guests here to show us exactly where we are with the ZX Spectrum today and all of the ways that you can enjoy a ZX Spectrum. In Lee from More Fun Making It.
Hello.
And Thomas, who is with us, Lee's son.
I am.
And Thomas is representing or a big fan of the befriending scheme.
That's right.
An ambassador.
An ambassador, that's a good word for it.
Ambassador.
So we'll talk a bit more about that later, because all of these incredible Spectrums that you're seeing here today, you've got a chance to pick one up through a charity auction, which Lee is running. Do you want to tell us about that quickly now, Lee?
Yeah, on the 16th of September, I'm going to be auctioning off 5 currently very special ZX Spectrums. They've all got something unique about them. 3 of them are actually built from scratch and brand new bespoke machines. One of them, one of the new build ones, is also in a rather special mechanical keyboard case, the ZX Spectrum, which you might have seen on Lee Smith's channel. The others are all rubber key variations, and they've all got something a little bit special about them. But yeah, we're auctioning these off to raise money for the befriending scheme, and that's going to happen on the 16th of September.
So each and every one of these comes packaged in a flight case.
Yeah, rather special flight cases that have been decorated and by a guy called Mike DX, who sent me some vinyls to put on, and I think you'll agree they kind of look the part.
We'd like to thank PCBWay.com for supporting our episode today. They aren't just about PCBs, although they do a tremendous job of that. They also offer CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, 3D printing and injection molding. If you're creating, then PCBWay.com can help you bring your project to life. Get an instant quote now over at PCBWay.com, and we thank them for their support.
And this is the first one that we've chosen to look at. This is called the ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
You saw my reaction when I picked it up a moment ago, just by touching the keys. Listen to the click on that. That is not how a ZX Spectrum keyboard should feel.
No.
It's beautiful.
Not even a plus.
Yeah, tell us about this.
So yeah, Lee Smith, he put that case together, and it was just one of his passion projects is making keyboards for old machines that will bring them up to date a little bit. And what he's done here is he's taken the PCB that Don Superfo created for the Harlequin range of ZX Spectrums, and he's built on it with, I think they're Cherry something switches, and he's got some custom-made keycaps that have all of the legends on them that you would expect on a ZX Spectrum. And the case that he's made, that he's designed, I mean, while it doesn't look like any Spectrum I ever saw, it really does make me feel like Spectrum should. And maybe it's something that a Spectrum should be in this modern day.
It's got tones of the Auric. Auric Atmos.
The Atmos,
it's got tones of the Amiga 600. And it brings with it the quality, so nice.
Now hit space.
What? Brings with it the, I guess, the quality of something like the Electron back in the day, which in terms of its keyboard, it just feels really nice to type on.
Very visceral kind of. Yeah, the Electron is a really good one to compare it to, because that felt industrial. But yeah, the first thing I did was, after I put it all together, was no motherboard inside the machine whatsoever. Just stood there for about 10 minutes typing
away on it. It's a 3D printed case, but it's a really great finish. That's a great quality print.
Lee's, he's a very, very clever man. And one of his big things is 3D printing. And I've not seen, I have a 3D printer myself. I could not do that. For a start, it needs a bigger format printer than I've got. But his quality of printing is excellent. But he designed that whole case from the ground up, and it just goes together beautifully. It feels solid.
Obviously got his printers very well tuned in. And tell us about what's inside. I can just see through the back there some of the chips. Looks like original chips. We're not talking FPGAs or anything like that, are we?
No, it's not an original motherboard. It's a Harlequin. So it's actually all off-the-shelf parts. So another thing that's special about this is that it uses the Harlequin, which was made by Don Superfo. Is it Don Superfo or Don Superfo? I prefer Superfo.
Superfo sounds a bit more exotic. I like that.
Okay, so well, let's go with
Superfo sounds like
a Marvel
crime
hero.
fighter or something. Yeah.
So Don put together the Harlequin range of computers, and we'll see another one in a minute as well. But I believe this is one of the first iterations. This is I think it's an issue 2D or something like that, and it's the board that you can buy currently at Byte Delight, and it might look like a lot of money to buy one of these to actually put together yourself, but when you break down all of the different parts that are on that board, all the components that you would have to go and source yourself, it's actually a really, really good deal. And it's a great fun project to make. It's kind of one of these rites of passage things for a retro tinkerer to do, is to make a Harlequin ZX Spectrum. But yeah, that's just a whole mess of chips in there.
I'm trying not to go too QVC here, but if you wanted to bid on this auction, what else might you get in the flight case included with this
What
one?
you get today, Neil, in this amazing offer. So the flight case is, as you've seen, is beautifully presented, and it also has all of the inside sculpted to incorporate all of these peripherals. So we've got the power cables and
Video cables?
video cable. There's an RGB cable in there. There'll be a composite cable as well, and a power supply. One thing to note on this is it sips electricity.
Okay.
Compared to one of the Spectrums you'll see later, this just tiny milliamps. It seems to run on thin air. We've got a Dandinator cartridge. This is donated by Arcadesy, who made his own custom 3D printed case for it with a little bit of product placement.
Rage Against the Retro.
That's his Twitch channel.
It is. So we would slot that in the back, and then that allows you to load from an SD card.
Yeah, you can load from SD card. It also has some games included, actually built into the ROM on the motherboard on that cartridge. So there's 2 pages of games on there that you can instantly load cartridge style, but then you can get into a menu. The Dandinator is kind of something that grew add-ons to it. So the SD side of it is something that was added later. But yeah, once you're into that interface, you could load any ZX Spectrum game that's on the SD card.
Joystick interface.
Joystick port,
Kempston.
yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
Kempston compatible.
And then a pass-through, so you could...
Daisy chain or as
you
much
could
as
add
you want.
your Cura speech
Well, you could-
cartridge on there, or whatever you
You
want.
could add a diagnostic
a
cartridge.
diagnostic, which is included.
Yes, that's
Okay.
going to be in. I use this actually to help me build these computers and put them together. This is another thing from Byte Delight. It's do you know what? I'm not sure. Oh yeah,
There we go.
Yeah, this is another thing from Byte Delight that it's like a Sinclair Tower of Power. And that's the best diagnostic cart I've ever used. I've used a few different ones. That one is really good. That was actually donated by Rudy from Rudy's Retro Intel. He's a lovely guy from Canada that follows my channel.
So with that cartridge, like in how bad a condition can your ZX Spectrum be and still get some information out of the diagnostic cart?
Well, that's a tricky one to
Yeah.
say. But it's with Spectrums, if the memory goes, then you don't really get a lot.
Right.
In certain situations, but often not. But the good thing about this one is that on some ZX Spectrums, there's a data line on the processor, on the Z80 processor, Z80 processor, called the M1 line. And if you have certain older ZX Spectrums that don't have, well, they had that faulty Z80 processor, the M1 line was missing, expansion cartridges wouldn't work. So diagnostic cartridges like the Dandinator, you can use the Dandinator as a diagnostic cart, won't work with that ZX Spectrum. And I've had that a few times where it's been very frustrating. I can't diagnose a fault with a cartridge. This will actually replace the M1 line on board and run without it. So you can do all sorts of things. And the best thing I've recently found out about it is it actually has a keyboard testing program built in as well.
Right.
Which is great because that's not something you normally see on, you see it in Commodore 64 diagnostics.
Amiga 500 diag ROM
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah, so that you get the
Press
persisted.
each key and you can see if it's
Exactly
going
that.
down. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really, really handy.
What do you make of that, Thomas?
That is really brilliant.
Yeah, you like that one?
I do.
It's my favourite.
Thomas is going to demonstrate it for us.
I am.
So let's
Yes.
go and play some games, Thomas.
Yeah, we're playing games.
The next system is very familiar, but at the same time very orange. So this is your classic 48K Spectrum case, but it's not an original one, is it?
No, this is a reproduction from ZX Renew, I believe. That was actually donated by another Neil from NLK Media. He's actually, I need to give him a shout out because he's helped me an enormous amount through this whole project. I've done so much stuff and crammed so many things into the few weeks that I've been doing this, and I could not have done it without him. So thank you, Neil. That's really, really appreciated. But yeah, he sent this case over for me to stuff a Spectrum inside.
Okay, so again, this comes with a flight case and accessories.
Yep.
We've got the David Dickinson Special Edition.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Why do these exist? Is there a demand for brightly coloured keyboards in the ZX
If you lose it in the dark, I don't know.
Okay.
I did have some problems with that one in the build. So Julian very kindly donated the motherboard for that and the CPLD, which the CPLD, they're quite difficult to get hold of. It's an Altera Max, which is why this is called the ZX Max 128. And he sent me the board with the chip and the socket all ready to go. I just had to find all of the other parts, which is what Neil from NLK did for me. He put all a bill of materials together and sent me all the parts. And I just put it all together. And then I thought, hang on a second, I've got to program this CPLD, and I've never done anything like that before. And Julian said, yeah, it's fine, I'll talk you through it. And we didn't get very far. And the problem with CPLDs in recent times is because of the chip shortage, there are a lot of fakes about.
Right, okay.
And it turns out that one was a fake. So he said, that's okay, I've got a bunch of them here. I'll dig another one out for you. And he went through his whole entire collection of CPLDs, and they all turned out to be fake as well.
No.
But he knew...
Were they completely useless?
Yeah, as far as we know.
Yeah.
One of them even turned into a small hot plate as well.
Oh, wow.
But he knew that he had two working ones. He had two that he thought were... One was programmed and one was not. So he sent the one he knew was programmed, and he sent another one that he thought was from the original batch that he got that he knew was good.
Yeah.
So I had one to program, and I plugged that in and tried to program it, and it wouldn't program in exactly the same way. So that one was broken.
When you say you plugged it into program, do you plug it in here and there's a header
Yes,
that you plug into?
exactly
Okay.
that. Yeah, you plug your USB blaster header onto the motherboard. Make sure the motherboard is powered, because a lot of people will be screaming, "Oh, you didn't power the motherboard," because that's a common mistake to make. And then you fire up the special programming software, point the file at it, and away it goes. I did that. I took the one that he sent me that was blank, because I wanted to actually program one for myself and make sure that it was working. It wasn't a problem that I was causing, and it didn't work. So then I thought, oh, what are we going to do now? So I've only got the chip that he knows is programmed. So I just put it in the motherboard, switched it on, and it didn't work.
It didn't work?
It didn't work.
No.
So I thought we were, I thought that was the game's up. I'm not going to be able to do this one in time. And then I thought, hang on a second. I haven't tried to program the one that he said was programmed. So I thought, well, let's connect it up again and try it. And I programmed it, and it worked.
It worked. Amazing. So you finally got up. If those problems hadn't existed, how long would it take you from start to finish to put this board together, to solder it all up?
Without filming,
Yes, yeah.
probably a couple of hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad. There's actually not as many discrete components. There's not too many resistors and transistors, and there's a couple of crystals and things like that on there, but it's actually quite a simple thing to do.
Okay, and presumably there's a bill of materials out there, so if anyone wants to have
There
a
is.
go at it themselves.
There's a GitHub.
that.
Yeah, Don
Okay.
Superfo's got his own GitHub with all of the information that you need. I have to say that it's not for the faint-hearted. It's
Right.
if you want to build a Harlequin, buy one from Byte Delight, because you get an incredible set of instructions that will guide you through every step. Plus, he puts all of the components into separate bags for you to go through, and they're all labeled exactly where you need to go. It's a really nice experience, but the Don Superfo stuff is for the experts. It's for people that know what they're doing.
Thomas is taken to the tape deck there, Thomas.
Yeah.
So like a premium Lego set then, you can just lay everything out,
Yes.
get your soldering out and enjoy the experience rather than getting
I
frustrated.
was more of a Meccano man,
More
but
of a Meccano man. What do you think, Thomas? Are you a fan of the orange keyboard?
Absolutely.
Yeah? What would you score this one out of 10?
What's that?
What would you score this out of 10? Would you give it 10 out of 10?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Do you want to have a play on this one?
Yeah.
Let's give it a go.
Yeah.
So the next one you've got, Lee, I heard as you went to collect it over at the other table there, you said, I'm really proud of this one. And instantly looking at it, I mean, from the outside, you've got smoked plastic. You can see a beautiful purple PCB inside. It's gorgeous. Tell us about it.
this is a beautiful thing. I actually bought that case for myself probably over a year ago when I decided that I wanted to make my own ZX Spectrum. I wanted to actually build one from scratch. And at the time, I think I was going to transplant the components off of an original ZX Spectrum motherboard onto a new one. And I've got some of those new motherboards hanging around that have still never been populated. But in the meantime, DevZine off of the Twitter, he sent me the PCB from this one, and it's something that he's re-engineered himself, and it's actually an issue 6A motherboard, and he took the original motherboard and created a new PCB schematic for it, and got one of those printed, and he actually sent that to me for my birthday. But that's all original ZX Spectrum, but from completely new parts, almost. The interesting one on an issue 6A is that the logic chips that deal with the upper and lower memory have been replaced by a custom chip, that the ZX8401, and Sinclair did that to obviously cut corners and costs. And I had one of those, but DevZine also sent me a small board that I could create my own one, and it actually has the 6 logic chips actually built onto it. They're all surface mounted, and that's all in there, and works exactly the same in every single way that is an original ZX Spectrum.
You can't help but just peer into the window and see what you can spot. Is it using just a voltage regulator like the original, or does it run a little bit cooler than the original?
Hugely cooler.
Yeah.
All the new components, things like the upper and lower memory boards, use less power, but the voltage regulator is obviously disappeared in that. There's no heat sink in there. It's got a Traco switching regulator, so it's all modern components.
Yeah.
Where I could get them, and the only one that isn't original, or the only one that isn't new, is the LM1889N, which is the video encoder chip.
Right.
And they were used so extensively in other applications like video recorders and things. There's billions of them still around new.
And I can see that the RF modulator is gone completely, and you've got a ZX Renew composite.
Yeah.
Jumped straight on there, which is something you would do on an original Spectrum anyway.
I had a choice on that. I had an S-Video board that I could have put in that place. And I wanted to keep this one, I wanted to keep as original as possible, but also I knew that what was going with that was this ZX HD HDMI interface. It's got a Raspberry Pi inside it that it basically adds HDMI to a ZX Spectrum through the expansion port. It's a really clever thing, and the output on that is stunning.
What's the biggest screen you've had a ZX Spectrum running on?
50.
50-inch ZX Spectrum. It's obscene.
You can the pixels are about a 3 foot across. The whole thing of this is it is an original Spectrum.
Yep.
Everything that you would do with an original Spectrum, you would do with this one. So we're going to be loading tapes, and this is a brand new modern tape deck.
They still make these.
Yeah, kind of. It was actually this was bought from Argos.
Yeah, it says for Argos. Yeah.
And I knew of them from Lost Retro Tapes. He did a brand new ZX Spectrum bundle. He did the complete thing where he did the box and the manuals and everything. And there will be a couple of manuals from him included with this one, where he's recreated them and had the manuals reprinted. Mm-hmm. But he found these tape decks. I didn't realise they still did these. They still sell them, or they did until very recently sell these in Argos.
But I've just noticed something. It's got a USB port.
Yeah, I know, it's a bit embarrassing that.
If you put a USB stick in, it will just play the audio from it. Can you then feed that audio into the ZX Spectrum?
You can.
So you could have a USB stick of WAV files of games.
I don't know if it would work because I'm not sure what the output would be like on it. I haven't tried that yet, but yeah, that was the last one in basically the country. So whoever wins it, please don't break it.
Okay, well, you know what time that is. It's over to you again, Thomas, for some play testing.
Yeah.
Show us what this one can do.
Yeah.
Is this the last one we're looking at today?
Yes.
There will be more.
There will be
for the
more.
auction,
Someone's actually just messaged me recently and said, I've got a mint inbox ZX Spectrum for the auction.
Oh, incredible.
So that's going on after.
Now, this looks decidedly, doesn't look old, but it looks like it's got a bit of patina on it. So this is an original case?
This is an original Spectrum in every single way.
Okay.
So this one's a bit special in a different way. I spotted this one on eBay, and I had to snap it up for the auction because it's one that I probably would have bought for myself. The special thing about this one is the motherboard inside it is an unusual colour.
Yeah.
That is something that they just did, and randomly they just used a different type of motherboard, SRBP I think it is, where it's just a different way of manufacturing the motherboard. But that one looks stunning because it's like this beautiful yellowish colour with blue silkscreen. And they're not very common. They're not very rare. They're not like issue ones, but they are quite sought after. Mm-hmm. So I snapped that one up. It came complete in box. So this is going to be the OG deal. You'll get an original WH Smith's cassette deck. Mm-hmm. That was refurbished by Repairface and sent to me. And that's a really nice specimen, and it works perfectly. I've tested that one out. Yeah. And this will come with, like the last one, will come with a bunch of games that have been donated. Si from Ginger Hippie Gaming sent me a whole heap of games.
From the Pigeon Poo warehouse.
Exactly that. I have got to clean them still.
So, did this need any maintenance or any fixes to get it going?
Yeah, it was sold as working on eBay, but there was actually a fault on it. The memory, one of the upper memory chips needed to be replaced. There was another fault as well, but that was just me being stupid because I wasn't feeding it enough power. This one's very thirsty. I'm actually going to have to do a little bit more maintenance on this. I will ask whoever wins the auction if they want me to change the voltage regulator for a Traco because it draws a lot of power and there might be a fault on it. I need to track it down. There could be a resistor, a capacitor that's, starting to fail, and it's drawing over an amp.
Yeah. Well, it does say 1 year guarantee on the box there, so we will hold you to that.
It's valid in the UK only. I'd actually, if whoever wins the auctions, basically will have a lifetime guarantee, as long as it's not ridiculous. There will be international auctions.
Oh, that's good of you.
But you'll get support for however long that you own them.
Within reason.
Yeah.
Are you missing anything from the box that I can help you to complete? Any manuals or anything like that?
I think they're all in there.
I think we're all in there and complete. Okay. Well, I have got a couple of bits that I'm going to donate for you to use as you please,
much.
maybe to put in the flight cases. This unusual book of ZX Spectrum Programming for Astrology. No, Astronomy. Astronomy, not astrology.
I'd prefer it if it was astrology.
Astronomy. Quite an interesting mix, but there's some fun little programs you can type in there. ZX Nightmares, which is Graham Mason's book on Spectrum games.
What a beautiful book. Absolutely. I picked it up and I wanted to cuddle it.
And I just grabbed the Magic Roundabout for the ZX Spectrum. Again, just because the ZX Spectrum is such a quintessentially British micro, I thought the Magic Roundabout
From Neil's
matched that.
psychedelic years.
So you can do with that as you please. Hopefully it helps the auction in some way. We're going to go and play on this one now with Thomas. Anything else included in the box? Does this one have a flight case?
No flight case.
Because it's got the original box.
Just the original. Just the first 3 ones that came with no boxes. So this one and the other mint one will be in their original boxes with peripherals on the outside.
Good. Well, while we're playing this, just remind us one last time, everything we need to do to see more about these being built, because you've got your own videos on them,
Yeah.
to take part in the auction, and to see your live stream that's coming up.
Right, yeah, so my channel is More Fun Making It. You can find me on YouTube by searching for that, all one word. The fundraising is all taking place on the Just Giving page. More Fun Making It, and there will be a link in the description, I'm sure, for that. And beyond that, we'll be doing a live stream on the 16th of September, and it's going to run from 11 o'clock in the morning UK time, British summer time, until 11 p.m. at night.
Ambitious.
I've got a lot of friends to keep me company, to keep me awake all Have
Have you
time.
got your meals planned? Have you got your...
This is what pot noodles were built for. I have a kettle next to me. But yeah, I've got lots of people to come and keep me company. People like Rose Tinted Spectrum, and you saw Glenn from CRG, and we've got Neil.
I'm going to come on there. Dave is going to be
Dave
on
from
there.
This Week in Retro. Yeah.
If you're interested in any of the Spectrums you've seen, there will be links to everything down below in the video description. And also, I think if you can think of absolutely everyone who's helped you to make this happen, we'll get links to all of their channels down there as well.
There is a lot of people.
Click on the links, go and subscribe to all of them, and then make sure you're subscribed to Lee's channel so you can watch us on that live stream. And if you want to take part in the auction, you can, but you don't have to, because you know how these charity auctions get. Someone sometimes comes along with a suitcase of cash and just goes, I want that, and prices you out of it.
I
But
know.
there are other ways that they can help.
Well, there's
a
gonna-
befriending scheme. Aren't
Yeah, there's going to be some smaller auctions as well. So we're going to auction off a couple of mugs, and there will be a few smaller auctions to go along. So you might have a chance to win some of the auctions. If you can't win an auction, don't feel bad. You can always donate straight on the Just Giving page, and no matter how small an amount, if you've got something to give, then you just put your hand in your pocket and let us have a little bit of your cash, because it's going to a fantastic cause, and they really do make the most of it. I've seen it firsthand.
And it's a place that Thomas loves going to, don't you, Thomas?
I
That's
do.
the thing,
I've enjoyed it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go and follow all of the links. And we're going to do a bit more gaming now, aren't we, Thomas?
Yes, we
We'll
are.
play some games. And
We
hopefully
are.
you've learned a little bit more as well about modern and old ZX Spectrum
Yeah.
use. I know I have. It's really hard to pick between them. When you first brought out the Mectrum to begin with, that's the one for me. I want that. And then everyone you pulled out, I want that too. I want that too. So it's really hard to pick between them.
Get your checkbook out.
Have you got a favourite?
Mr. Count.
Oh,
It's a difficult question.
choosing your favourite child. I think the new build. That
new
was
build.
Yeah, that was. I really enjoyed that, and that was the one I pretty much did myself from scratch. Just just pulling parts out of different drawers and things in the workshop, and then creating that custom chip as well.
Yeah, and the satisfaction of seeing it.
The
Seeing your
first
creation
time,
come to life.
the first time
Lovely.
you switch it on is
Lovely.
magic.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Take care.
Nice seeing you,
See you next time.
Keith Ashley.
Give them a wave, Thomas. Bye.
Bye, bye, Keith Ashley.
Bye, Keith and Ashley.
See you
Hope you're
on
watching.
Thursday, Friday.